A stroll in the park gave birth to EMDR. The founder of EMDR, Francine Cher-Perot, was walking in the park in 1987 while thinking about some disturbing thoughts. Her eyes moved spontaneously back and forth, and some of her negative thoughts disappeared. When she tried to recover them, they were not as disturbing as before, and this happened without any conscious effort. After she began using the eye phenomenon deliberately with the same results. Cher Perot was fascinated when observing how, whenever she brought up a disturbing thought and moved her eyes in a certain way, it allowed it to disappear and dissipate. Following this discovery, she began to ask the question, what types of thoughts could this work on? And she began to test it on other people. She gathered every individual she knew and asked them, bring up something disturbing that bothers you. And then she tried to duplicate with them what she had done to herself. She asked them to move their eyes in the same way. She showed them how she moved her eyes and discovered that most people did not have the type of muscle control she had, and she had to guide them with her hand, which resulted in the bilateral stimulation, which you'll see later in our role play. The feeling that she had at the time was that she stumbled upon a natural physiological process we all had, something she noticed and now was deliberately using. The feeling was that if it worked on her, then reasonably it should work on everyone else. She was also thinking in terms of REM sleep. That was where eye movements were mentioned, and the notion of going to sleep feeling disturbed and then waking up after and feeling better. It made sense to her that there was some connection between eye movements and processes that occurred during sleep. Clearly, she felt like we all had this in common. Chapurio then conducted a case study and a controlled study to test the effectiveness of, at the time, what she was calling EMD. In the controlled study, she randomly assigned 22 individuals with traumatic memories to two conditions. Half of them received EMD, the other half received the same therapeutic process with imagery and detailed description replacing the eye movements. She reported that EMD resulted in significant decreases in ratings of subjective distress and significant increases in rating of confidence in positive belief. Participants in the EMD condition reported significantly larger changes than those in the imagery condition. Chapurio continued to develop this treatment approach, incorporating feedback from clients and other clinicians who were using EMD. In 1991, she changed the name to Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing, what we now know and refer to as EMDR. She did this to reflect the insights and cognitive changes that occurred during the treatment and to identify the information processing theory that she developed to explain the treatment's effectiveness. Since then, several studies have been published, 100 case studies have been published, and there has been numerous controlled outcome studies. These studies have demonstrated EMDR's effectiveness in PTSD treatment, and EMDR is now recognized as an effective treatment for PTSD. There was also a professional association independent of Cher-Perot, and the EMDR Institute was founded in 1995 to establish standards for training and practice. The EMDR International Association, EMDRIA, declares that its primary objective is to establish, maintain, and promote the highest standards of excellence and integrity in eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, practice, research, and education. If you're interested, you can find more information about EMDRIA, which is available at www.emdria.org.